Hello and welcome to On the Kerbs. I'm your host, Team Hours Daily. Joining me this week is Rally Driver Madelyn Tabor. We caught up a little while back to chat about how it was inevitable that she would end up racing, what it's been like working with her co-driver, Sophia McKee, and how her family played a big part in her coming onto the team in the first place, as well as her most challenging moment in motorsport so far, and much more. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Hi Madelyn, thank you very much for being here today. First of all, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Not too bad, thank you. First question I'd ask everyone I talk to on here, what first got you interested in motorsport?
Pretty much my dad's side of the family all has been doing stage rally for over 20 years now. So I pretty much grew up in the sport. I attended my first rally when I was 4 weeks old. So pretty much a big part of my childhood is just going to like the service area. And my dad drives, my aunt drives, and my grandma co-drives for my aunt. My granddad drives occasionally, and my uncle drives as well. So
I guess it was never too
done. Yeah, pretty much. And then now, since I'm old enough, and then my younger brother, who's 17, is old enough, we've started rallying as well. So it's been
together or against each other?
Against. Never.
Who's winning that one so far?
It's hard to say. My brother also does road racing at the same time, so rally is kind of not his main thing. But he just won a big award for the Ken Block Tribute Awards. So that's pretty good. Yeah, and it's only like his third rally that he won it on. So
not too shabby.
But
we'll get to him at another point. We'll focus on you.
Yeah. I mean, we're in different classes, so it's kind of hard to like say who's better, but I think we're both doing really well for where we are.
You say that he's in obviously a different class of racing. Is that the same with the other members of your family, or are they all into rallying? Because I'm intrigued as to why you went into rallying specifically.
Yeah, we're kind of all in different classes. My dad was in the open four-wheel drive. He had a car and it burnt out recently, so he is building a new one right now. But and then my aunt, they just built a new car. They're in the limited all-wheel drive, I believe, but they just built that car and it has a turbo in it. And then the car I have right now, it used to be theirs, but then they built that one and they're like, hey, do you want this? And I was like, yes, thank you.
So you're not going to say no to that, are you?
No, literally, I was like, it was kind of a perfect, I was aging out of what I was used to be doing. Like, it was kind of a different, kind of like karting, but it was called quarter midgets. And you age out when you're 18. So I was 18 when they kind of finished building that car, and they're like, hey, here's a great opportunity. And it's like, great, thank you. So
was this the Subaru or was this a different car?
Yeah, it was the gray Subaru that I have right now. But yeah.
So it's not a bad present to get then, is it?
No, it really wasn't. I was very grateful. Yeah, and it was a great starter car. It's naturally aspirated, so no turbo or anything like that. And it's all-wheel drive, so relatively easy to handle. And we've had that car, like it's been in the car or in the family for like pretty much. They bought it new off the showroom floor. It's a 99, so they bought it that year, and it was
a quite a bit of stuff since then.
Yeah, it's seen pretty much everybody in the family. So
do you feel like a bit under pressure because of that? And you're like, I don't want to be the one to end the car, or do you want to be like, I want to be able to give this to the next person?
I don't really feel that. And I feel like I'm very grateful for my family to not put that pressure on me, or even like I don't even think that wasn't even a thought of theirs.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It's a valid question. My aunt, actually, her first rally, it wasn't that car, but she rolled her car, and like we've destroyed a few cars, only a few. I think our ratio is really good.
It's rallying, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, for right now, I'm still learning the car, and I even learned manual transmission pretty much while rallying, like for the most part. So I feel like for me, like where I am, I'm still learning myself and also the car's abilities. But like obviously rallies, you can't just like go out on a dirt road and just rally. It's it's very limited in when you can test your abilities. So, but yeah, so I think every time yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so I'm still learning, definitely. I mean, I always learn. I get everyone learns something when they get in the
Okay.
car. But I
So
definitely have really good mentors as well.
yeah, it's important as well. And like you say, with you've got that much kind of experience within the family, never mind looking outside of it, then you're already pretty well set up.
Yeah, definitely. And they all have driven the car for some ridiculous amount of years. So when I was making my second rally, there's a big famous jump in the middle of the rally, and I had never jumped a car, and they were like, or I was like, I don't know like what to do, and they're like, oh, the car flies great, like just do
Just
it. And I
do
was like,
it.
great, okay, pretty much that's what they said, and I was like, okay, and I did it, and I was like, wow, this car flies great. So
Well, at least
yeah.
they didn't lie to you. That's excellent.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you're saying that you probably attended your first rally when you're about 4 weeks old. When did you actually do your first rally in the driving seat, and how did it go?
My first rally was just a small regional rally it was like the Oregon Regional.
Mm.
I was 18. I was like a few weeks out from graduating from high school at the time. I mean, it was COVID, so a little weird, but it was a small regional, so not that many stage miles and relatively, nothing extreme or anything, very low stakes. But then I actually had my dad co-drive for me, which he's a driver, but he occasionally co-drives, and
Yeah.
we've done a lot of TSC rallies together, and he would co-drive for me in those. So it kind of like made sense that he would be the one to co-drive for me, because I
One
didn't
less
really
thing to
know what I
worry
was
about, and you can focus on the driving aspect. Then.
pretty much, yeah, and like making sure I know what gear to shift into, or when to do what, and just like learning the mechanics as well. I feel like it's hard to, you know, figure everything out, especially on your first rally if you don't really know much.
So one of these
So
ones
yeah, I
there
think
was
that
just a matter of experience and get that time in.
pretty much. I mean, I feel like you can't push even if you know everything, or like you think you know everything about rally. I feel like you have to take it easy for the first.
So the course will find a way to catch you out then if you start thinking like that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So you've also worked with Sophia McKee as your co-driver since then for the majority of your rallies. So I'm kind of getting across everything there. How was the relationship between you two? How did you meet, and how important is that kind of partnership and how important is that for the races?
Yeah, so we met. She had been in different parts of Raleigh. She had done the zero car stuff. In the Pacific Northwest, we have a strong team that kind of does all the zero car work for the rallies. So she had worked with them. She had done sweep stuff. She'd kind of been like in pretty much every different role, or like different, not like different role, but like kind of different
Been around the
parts.
block a couple of times.
Yeah. And she was like, oh, I just wanted to see what the middle was like. And I was like, and at the time I was looking for a co-driver, and I was like, well, I'm looking for a co-driver. So it kind of worked out. And I wanted a female co-driver just because my aunt and my grandma are together, and they've pretty much been in the car for like together my whole life for the most part. Like it made sense that they were together, and I was like, and I wanted that for myself in some capacity. And I just feel like we got in the car, we kind of just, it worked out. We just blended well together, and I mean, I
Got
couldn't
lucky
ask for
there
a
that you
better
got that
co-driver.
chemistry straight away and just it
Yeah,
fit.
I was definitely very lucky, because I feel like I wanted someone that could be in the car like the whole time. I feel like I see a lot of people that are constantly like having a new co-driver, and that's just
Because they're
situational, I
looking
guess.
for
But
what
like,
you what you have a lot of the time as well. It's not
I guess, I
necessarily
mean,
financial.
yeah, I feel like you just can't get to know someone if you're only seeing them for like a one rally at a time. Like I feel like you bond more together the longer you're in the car, and I just feel like I knew I needed that, and someone that knew me, and I needed to know them and like their driving or co-driving style, and then they needed to know my driving style, because that was just how it was going to work, and I knew I needed that. And she's just been awesome. I mean, she's older than me, but I just feel like we still just mold very well, and yeah, it's just been great. And she's a great addition to the family in a way. My family went, because I'm the eldest of all the kids in the family, so they were like, when you get a co-driver, like it's gonna be like a sit down interview. We're gonna need to figure out, who this person is. It was a very big deal.
It's a
So
family
I think
decision. It's not just you.
it really was, honestly. It really was. It was a very big deal. But yeah, I'm glad it worked out, and she's been great, and could not ask for someone better.
And like you were saying, when your dad was co-driving for you, it's one of those things where you don't have to even think or worry about that. You can just implicitly trust the person sitting next to you to be telling you the right information because you know that A, they've done their homework, and B, you get along with them pretty well. And the extra reassurance for you, their family approves.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. And so she checked all those boxes. And I mean, each rally goes and you slowly trust the person more, and you trust your own abilities more. But that's just the whole experience as time goes on. But yeah, definitely.
Do you have a favorite racing memory so far then, and a favorite location that you maybe raced at?
Favorite location, I would definitely have to say close to home, the Oregon Trail Rally. I mean, I'm from the Portland area, and it starts at Portland International Raceway, which I feel like is really
It's not
kind
a
of
bad
unique
starting
for
place.
yeah, it's just very unique. And especially with my brother starting road race, we're out at the track very often. So being able to start there, it
It's like a bit
definitely
of a
feels like home
crossover,
turf.
maybe.
A little bit. I mean, when I did my first rally there, or I did my first Oregon Trail, and he he hadn't gone into rally yet, but he had done road racing stuff. And so he tried to coach everyone like how to take the lines, because we drove partially on the track, and he was like, oh, you have to go do this for this corner, this for this corner. And it was just really funny, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And even last Oregon Trail, I was guessing, but I'm like, I feel like I should know, considering I'm at the track so much watching my brother. I'm like, I should kind of know what I'm doing.
It's
And
not
like,
sunk in.
no, it has not. And I mean, I'm not on the track very often. I'm just seeing it from like far away. But definitely Oregon Trail. Favorite racing memory? It's hard to pick. Hmm. I
What's
think
your instinct going
more,
for?
yeah, definitely. I think more recently it would be the jump again. The first
Same
time
jump?
we had jumped, yeah, same. It's called the Boyd jump because it's on the Boyd stage. Um, and the first time we ran it twice. The first time I jumped 45 feet, which was already like 15 feet farther than what I did last year. And then the second time around, I jumped 60 feet. And we weren't expecting that at all, but like I was the farthest
Were you
jump
purposely
out of
trying to do
everyone.
that, or was that just a happy accident?
It wasn't really a happy accident. It was just like I was just faster, and it flew better, I guess. But
I
I
suppose that
was
should
the
reassure you as well that you're getting better inside the car there. You've got more
Mhm.
trust in yourself and the car to be pushing it that much.
It really was. I knew I jumped farther, but like I didn't know how
Not
far.
that much further.
Obviously. No, yeah, I really wasn't expecting that. But I jumped the farthest out of everyone who was racing at the time, that for Oregon. Or like in the family at least. So that was kind of fun. And like I had someone tell me that like a lot of people like around me were taking the jump very cautiously, but I looked very confident in I knew what I was doing. I knew how to control the car and stuff like that, and how to land it.
You're
So
just
I think
doing
that
what
was
you've been told by
definitely
the family. Just do it.
pretty much, yeah. So that was good. It made me feel very good about what I was doing. But yeah.
And you've got family bragging rights as well there.
Pretty much. I won that one. We have this thing in the family, it's called the Tabor Cup. It usually goes to whoever just like finishes the highest, but I think I won that. I won that miniature
Yeah, bonus
Tabor
point for that.
jump. Yeah, pretty much.
On the flip side of that, then, what's been the most challenging thing for you to overcome so far?
Challenging thing. I think being a woman in the sport, I think it's definitely gotten better, and I think I have a head start in it in a way, just because of the family
The
and a lot of
background, yeah.
people. Yeah. But I mean, there has been moments where people don't recognize who I am exactly, and there's a moment of like
Is it
I
in terms of
don't.
like you're like getting ready to race and people aren't expecting you to be the person getting to the car, or how do you mean?
I mean, there was a moment it was at a giveaway, which is in Minnesota. We went there last summer, and it was Travis Pastrana. Actually, he crashed his car like a few corners into a stage, and it was partially blocking the road. So he would like talk to each car or like the driver and be like, hey, my car's in the way, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was the last car at the time. There was other cars behind me, but they crashed out, whatever. And so the Subaru launch control, they were filming it. So they filmed our interaction of like, he was like, hey, Mike, someone parked their blue Subaru in the road. And I was like, okay, thanks for your information. But I was kind of starstruck. It's like, it's Travis Pastrana. Like,
Yeah.
I knew, it's, even if we're in the same sport, there's like a slight amount of starstruck because like,
you're not necessarily expected to still see him.
Exactly, right. I'm like, we're on opposite ends of the field. Like, I'm not expecting to see you at all this weekend. And so then I drove off to start the stage. But then in the launch control, the camera pans up to Travis and he said some like joke of like, oh, she doesn't got it or something like that. And I don't think he knew, like, he knows of the Tabors, but I just don't think he recognized me. But like, that could have been anyone in the car, and especially being a younger female in the sport, I think that was just very, even it was a cheap joke, whatever, but like I think it wasn't taken the way that he maybe thought it was, and especially at who I was in a very male dominated sport, it wasn't appropriate, and it was like, okay, that's not really necessary and not very encouraging for
perhaps one of those things that's not necessarily even thought about, but that
it definitely wasn't.
It's also potentially the problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of the little things in a way of being in a male-dominated sport. It's like maybe the average male won't notice that or don't even take it that way, but being in the minority, if you will, it doesn't come off the same way, pretty much.
So looking back on this year then, what are your ambitions for the rest of 2023, and if you've got anything on the bucket list potentially for beyond?
Right now it's just to finish, honestly, just trying to rack up those just like, experience really. Where we kind of have a bit of a break in rally, kind of a summer break. We do a lot of rally crosses. The other thing that Pacific Northwest has is we have a good rallycross environment as well, which just kind of helps to get into stage rally. But so we're gonna do a few of those over the summer, or like one or two. And then we have a few kind of the regionals. We did the nationals of Olympus in Oregon, and then we have like the regionals later in the fall. And then this kind of pours over to next year. But since my dad burned his car down, this was always the plan.
I've got to ask about that. What happened there?
It was an oil line, I believe. He hit a bump, okay. I think, or a turbo oil line, I believe. He was always going to do this. Just the car burning down was obviously not part of the plan, but he was going to build. So he raced 20 years ago next year. He won the production class in rally, like the national championship. And so he wanted to recreate that in a limited two-wheel drive car. So he is going to get a little Ford Fiesta ST, and they're building it right now. So he wanted to do that and sort of replicate that championship. Cool. That's not like fully announced yet, but or officially announced, but he's told people. But and he kind of, the idea is he was going to do all the national events, and then like when convenient, kind of take us another like a second race car basically as a way. So the first one is Snowdrift, which is somewhere in the snow. I can't remember exactly where it is, but I was really interested in doing Snowdrift because I don't really have that much experience on
something a bit different.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of this year, there's a gravel shakedown and then there's a snow shakedown. It's called Big White in Canada. And yeah, so that's in December, and I wanted to go up to do that as well, which will be
so December in Canada. I think you'll be not disappointed with the amount of snow there.
No, definitely. It'll be plentiful of snow, but yeah, so I think that'll be fun. And then this year was kind of a I think this year was kind of a prep year as a way, and I think with Dad's car burning down, it kind of dampened the plan, but this was always going to happen. It was just kind of going to take.
He was hoping the other car would
be pretty much. But yeah, I think that'll be fun, and this year was kind of like a prep year for doing that kind of.
Plan to keep you busy and set you up nicely, and like you say, get that experience in and try a couple of different conditions, like you say, with the gravel and with the snow. And again, you never know what you're going to learn, and one kind of terrain that you can apply to another one that might be handy.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, definitely.
If you could race in any rally in any car, what are you choosing?
Ooh, that's a hard question. I have always kind of, I don't know. I would I would like to do anything. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I think driving a turbo car would be cool, but I think having the experience of like a rear-wheel drive car or a front-wheel drive car would be cool. I feel like
Overloaded with options now.
I know. Sorry, that was a little overwhelming. I don't know. I think I would like to do almost any rally. I mean, I'm just
There
thinking
was
in the
never
United
one that you
States.
kind of like growing up, you were watching maybe your family member do this, and you were like, "Oh, I'd love to do this in this car," or there was never
Not
anything. It was just kind
really.
of, "I
I
want to
think,
do all of it."
yeah, kind of. I'm very try to be very open and like, what's out there. And I think next year, hopefully I'll get to experience that with, the different rallies and the different locations. I think growing up, before I started rally, it was Oregon Trail, just because it is kind
And
of
you
the home
tick that box
race.
straight away.
Pretty much, that was my first national race. So, um, but yeah.
Do you have a pre-race music playlist?
Pre-race, kind of. It was kind of a combination of Sophie's music and my music, and it's just kind of like a big jumbled.
Is that a
Um,
good overlap, or is that something you differ on? We're like, oh my
it's
god, this
no,
is
it's
terrible
good.
music.
I try to be open on like type of music. I don't really like dislike a certain type of music, so I'm just, like whatever. If it's upbeat, usually I'm like put it on the playlist. Um, but when they were building my car, they took out the radio, so I don't have like a radio or anything in the car. So I have like a portable speaker, which is nice. But in my aunt's car, they left the speaker in, so there's like some, way to play music.
Mm.
And then my dad was like, "Oh, we're leaving the stereo in his car," and I was like, "Well, I'm glad you
Why did we
learned to
take it out
leave
of
the
mine?
stereo." No, I'm like, "What happened with mine?" I was like, "That's good. You learned to keep the stereo in the cars," but
Shame it wasn't
I'm
sooner.
literally, yeah. I'm like, I'm a little jealous, but whatever. Glad you have yours.
So from the sense of it, you'll be building one of these cars at some point in the future, so you can get it, make sure it's included then.
Yeah, we'll see definitely. It's gonna depend on what next year happens. And I think my dad, his plan was to go back to an open wheel car, probably a Subaru of some sort. But then the question was like, what happens to this car that he's building now? So a lot of unknown, but I would not
It's fun.
be.
It's fun kind of unknowns though. There's lots of
Yeah,
scope possibilities within that.
yeah. It's kind of interesting to see like what will play out and what will happen. Actually, at the beginning of the Olympus rally where my dad's car burnt down, we were about to check out of Park Expose, and I told Sophia, I was like, I wonder what the big drama of the rally was going to be. And then we pull up to the first
2 minutes
stage and
later,
literally like exactly pretty much. And I was like, well, that's
I
maybe
shouldn't have
I
said anything.
jinxed it. Pretty much. And I said nothing for Oregon Trail, and it was like there was no like big drama or anything. It was
Great
all
power
relatively
comes great
small.
responsibility.
Pretty much. I was like, oh, maybe I don't say that. I'll say that to myself.
A couple of fun non-motorsport related questions then to finish off. Do you have a favorite film?
Favorite film? Um, I'm actually interested. I'm majoring in cinema studies right now, so
Yes,
I'm
that
kind
was
of
a very well-timed question.
pretty much. I usually just like saying whatever I watched recently, and the other day I watched the new Spider-Verse movie, which was really good.
Okay.
So I'll have
Getting a
to
lot of
say
good
that,
reviews.
and yeah, definitely, highly recommend. It has that like multiverse
Mm.
kind of breaks the fourth wall at times, and it's just I don't know. I feel like that movie and Everything Everywhere All at Once both kind of
Mm.
similar overlap, but kind of they just take the movie watching experience to just like a new level. I feel like, and it's just on a new level, honestly.
I like that. Okay. And then finally, would you rather be able to walk on water or swim through land?
I'll say walk on water because I feel like that's cool, and I feel like you could go more places. Like if I wanted to, like, I'm not saying I would walk to Hawaii, but
You
it
could
could
if you
be a
wanted
thing.
to.
I could if I wanted to, if I could walk on water, and it may be a cheaper option as well. May take a while, but I'll get there eventually.
Say, how long is it in a plane? Never mind, then underwater.
It's about 6 hours from where I am. So
You get your steps in. You'll get your steps in.
yeah.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. I want to thank you very much for taking the time to do it, and wish you best of luck with everything on your busy schedule for this year and next.
Thank you. It was great talking to you.
Thanks again to Madelyn for coming onto the Kerbs with me. I can't wait to see how she gets on in the rest of 2023. If you want to follow her career, links to her socials will be in the description below, so do go and check those out. Join me again next time when I'll be chatting to another famous face from the world of motorsport. In the meantime, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, as well as check out the back catalogue of episodes on the On the Kerbs channel. If you want even more from me, you can listen to me chat about everything Formula 1 over on the Undercut podcast, as well as delving into the world of Nitro Cross over on the Nitro RX Podcast. Both are available wherever you get your podcasts. As for written content, I currently write for Is It Fast and Paddock Sorority, so be sure to check all of them out with original pieces released each week. All of the information and links for those will be in the description below, as well as my Instagram handle if you want to go and follow me there. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll be back soon with another episode.